Sure. So this was a pretty ambitious project because we wanted to include as many artists as possible. It was a huge wall. I think it was over 150 feet. So we wanted to, make it manageable and make it possible to actually complete. So we ended up enlisting about 8 artists to complete the wall, and in order to accommodate everyone's individual styles, but also create a cohesive mural, we as a team came up with this concept of the worker. And we had a total of, 9 or 10 letters that each artist kind of took as their own, so they got to make it their own and incorporate imagery that was inspiring to them, but then it was unified by this large text, the worker. So it was exciting, there were a lot of personalities, a lot of different styles, so that was the initial challenge, but it was a beautiful thing to see them all kind of come together and work together on this massive project. There were some difficulties, just the simple logistics of getting materials to the site and back to the site, so luckily we had kind of a project manager, Chris Kamek. He was really helpful in letting us use his studio to store supplies, and then also helping artists set up in the beginning of the day. But it took over about a month to really get started on it. We started the process of painting the mural during our City of Night festival that took place in the Old First Ward, 2017. 2017. And that was a really exciting moment because it was such a massive project. Another kind of component was that this was a very rough wall. There was a little bit of barbed wire, and there was a little bit of trouble getting close to the wall. As you can see, debris. It was a very rustic site, so the artist had to kind of figure out the best way around that.
A little bit about the inspiration for the worker part of the mural and the message that you were trying to portray behind that concept.
Absolutely. So one of the reasons why we chose the worker was because we had initially had City of Night run by a not-for-profit that I was a part of, Emerging Leaders of the Arts of Buffalo, or ELAB as we were called. We had our festival at the Grain Silos, and when we were at the Grain Silos, we really highlighted the space. There was a lot to work with, and also the history of the space and the grain mills. When we moved to the First Ward, that became such a focus as to the people who lived here and who worked in the neighboring silos and in all of the industries in the turn of the century. So the worker itself, it pays a testament to all these amazing people who did the hard work in those beginning stages of Buffalo's growth. So we had the coal shovelers, and we had steel workers, and we had police officers and firefighters. The one behind me, you can kind of see that they are shoveling grain, I believe. The one on the far end by Nicole Cherry was of the steel workers, and there's all these beautiful sparks that were flying around. So it gave a lot of inspiration to our artists, and they each kind of chose a particular field to kind of work with, so it worked out really nice. And then we did end up including some of the landscape as well in the mural, because landscape dictates what we're doing here, and that was really beautifully done. Some waterways were in the mural as well.
Talking about some of the pieces of this mural in the past tense, because as we can see here, the rest of the worker mural is now missing. So can you talk a little bit about how there was some notion that this was potentially a temporary space, as with the shape of the building and possible demo, and then now it coming to fruition through a storm and the wall getting blown down?
Sure. So we did know that the wall was not totally secure, and we did get permission from the owner to do this mural, but he did say that this might not last forever. It was in pretty rough shape, so we did go in knowing that it might not last forever. It still was such a massive project that we just felt like it really would be beneficial to create a beautiful work of art on it. And I don't think that it affected the artists' commitment or their attention to detail. I mean, they worked so carefully and close. So it's like a testament to street art that they do typically create murals with the notion that it may not last forever, and that's okay. It's really about that moment in time, and appreciating it for what it is, and it brought such took a huge kind of crumbling wall and made it a beautiful work of art for a couple of years for the neighbors to enjoy. The piece that remains was painted by Gala Katchen, and we had to project her image. She created this beautiful image, and it was a little more complex than some of the other images, and it didn't really fit the text kind of constrictions of the worker. So this wall ended up being perfect for her sketch, and we had to project it using a large scale projector so that she could kind of map it out, which is common for most mural artists because it just is such a massive scale to try to like wrap your head around that, and when you're close up it's hard to tell. So we projected it at night, and then she worked on it for many weeks, putting in all these great details, and you could just see like the attention to detail in the ropes, really beautiful and very striking from a distance.